So this morning, Hockey Canada has made public the team that will represent Canada at the 2018 games. And there's a very strong... Now, I'm wearing Canucks, and there's a reason. There's a very strong Canuck feel to this team. So let's just go through the forwards. The forwards are Rene Bourque, Gilbert Brulé, Andrew Ebbett, Quentin Howden, Chris Kelly, Rob Klinkhammer, Brandon Kozun, Maxime Lapierre, Eric O'Dell, Mason Raymond, Derek Roy, Christian Thomas, Lyndon Vey, and Wojtek Wolski. On defense, Stefan Elliott, Che Genoway, Cody Golubeff, Marc-Andre Gregnani, Chris Lee, Maxime Nareau, Matt Robinson, and Carl Stollery. And in net, Justin Peters, Kevin Poulin, and Ben Scrivens. Now, the asterisks are guys from the Canucks. So Ebbett played for Vancouver, Lapierre, Raymond, Roy, and Vey. And on the blue line, Gregnani was a Canuck. And Quentin Howden was the draft pick that was traded in exchange for Keith Ballard in a trade that Canuck fans decried for years. So this could have easily been another former Canuck on this team. I've also put dashes next to Brulé and Howden because I do wonder if good performances at the 2018 games could reignite their careers. There are 13 guys from the KHL. The KHL has not said publicly yet whether or not they're going to release players to play in the Olympics. Cale Makar apparently was offered a spot on the roster and he declined. Looking at this roster, I can understand why he would decline. There's two ways to look at this. People are going to look at this and say, well, that's not Canada's best, who cares? But for an 18, 19-year-old kid, these are NHL veterans. It's an intimidating atmosphere. Then you're going to South Korea. Not exactly known as, you know, a tourist destination, not ahead of Jamaica and that kind of thing. I would think if these games were being played in the States, he would have gone. But of course, if the games were being played in the States, we wouldn't have these players. I do suspect that in 2022, when it's in China, they're going to find a way to send NHLers, but that's for another time. I don't blame Makar for saying no. The average age of this team is 31. It's an older team. My only concern with this team is its age. On Olympic ice, which is bigger ice to start with, having older players usually means slower players, and slower players can often get tripped up. Now, I want to see which team's going to get sent as independent players that can't play as Russia, but they're Russians. But I do think this team has a shot, and I'll tell you why. A lot of these players have been playing together in other tournaments, whether it's the Spengler Cup or any other cup for Team Canada as Team Canada. It is a good idea to leave those guys together and let them play for our country when the gold medal's on the line, because they're used to that. And I'm going to be interested to see what Lyndon Vey does too, in that Lyndon Vey has been playing very well in the KHL. He's a top scorer there. And I think the one I'm kind of surprised not to see here is Nigel Dawes. Nigel Dawes has played very well. He's not going to the Olympics. I find that kind of odd because he's played very well in the KHL for a while. 13 KHLers, he's not on the list. Mason Raymond is one that may belie the older means slower. Mason Raymond's a very fast skater. My comment on Raymond when he was a Canuck was, I really look forward to the day when his hands catch up to his feet. Meaning he's very fast, but when he gets in on the net, he kind of fumbles the puck. There were a couple of years there that looked like he had figured it out, and then it just kind of faded away for him again. I feel nothing but tremendous respect and admiration for Mason Raymond, however, and it would be nice to see him win a gold medal. There are people who are going to be upset about who's on the team and who's not, but honestly, it's not a bad team. I do think it's better than the American team that's going over. We'll see, though, because we never know. But I do have... I'm optimistic this team can bring home a medal. And I don't know if it's going to be gold or not, but it is a good team because we know there aren't NHLers going over. But it is a matter of if the Russians, under a different banner, as independent athletes, go over and compete, and if you've got guys like Kovalchuk playing, I would favor them definitely. But still, it looks good for Canada. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Who got left off that you think should have made it? Which juniors do you think should have pushed these guys out? That's the big question, of course. Of course, again, my concern would be if you bring in junior players, they could get lost in the shuffle with this lineup. But again, let me know what you guys think. Hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. And this is your Team Canada, who could potentially bring home any kind of medal. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you again soon.